everybody. I hope you're doing well today. Alright, so this is going to be Clawhammer Banjo lesson number 4. I hope my lighting is not too bad out here. It's a little challenge for me, but hopefully this isn't too bad. But we know how to do the basic clawhammer stroke. Okay, and we know how to do the alternating stroke on the 3rd and 4th string. Learned a little bit about our timing, okay?
If you haven't already done this, you need to go back and do this before you move on.
So now it's time. Yes, it's time. It's time to get our hands on this fretboard. Okay. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to teach you a chord, all right? So playing your banjo open with nothing down on your fretting hand, you're in a G chord. Okay, so we're tuned to a G chord. Isn't that great? You're already in a chord. Okay. So that's one down. So the next chord I'm going to teach you, it's called a D7 chord, all right? So the D7 chord uses 2 fingers, our index and our middle of our fretting hand, and we get down here on the 2nd string 1st fret, all right? And when we put our hands down, when we put our fingers down on the fretboard, we want to put just the tips. I don't know if you can see those calluses or not, but I have little pads on the tips of my fingers. It's not on the flat part of my fingers. It's on the tips of my fingers. Okay? So when we're pressing down on the fretboard, we want to make sure that we are pressing down and not mashing down. Okay? When we mash down, we're going to do that later when we do bar chords. But we want to make sure we get our fingertips down, okay? So take that fingertip, and another tip about when you want to get your hands on the fretboard is you never want to touch the fret, and you never want to be way far away from the fret. You get some dirty notes, okay? So you want to be in this sweet spot. There's a little sweet spot that is in between the halfway mark and the fret wire. So when we say the 1st fret, that's the 1st wire piece right here after your nut. And this is your nut. Okay? It's where the strings come off the peg head and onto the fretboard. It's called your nut. Alright, so we're going to take our index finger and we're going to put it down behind the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And we're going to pluck that note with our thumb, and we're going to keep plucking it until we hear a crystal clear note, okay? We don't want anything that makes little funky noises or anything like that, any buzzing, anything like that, okay? So we want to get that note clear, and we want to have it on the tip, you know, the tip of our finger there. All right. So now, while we're pressing that string down, so then we're going to take our middle finger and we're going to move it and place it on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And we're going to pluck that note. And we want it to be crystal clear again. And we want to pluck both notes. And we want them to be clear, okay? And then, if your hand's tired, you know, do that a little bit. And when we go to press these chords down, we're not death gripping our neck here. That'll lead to wrist pain and such as that. So we don't want that. We want it to be not too much pressure, but not too little pressure. Okay, we want it to be just right. So put those down on the 2nd string 1st fret, 3rd string 2nd fret, and get them clear. All right. Okay, so once we have our D7 chord, now we're going to practice with it, all right? So we're going to practice going from our G chord, which is open, to our D7 chord. Now, note the position of my thumb here, and I'll turn around so you can see how my hand is wrapped around the fretboard, okay? Now, for other chords, we're going to have our hand in a different position, okay? See how our hand, we can do a lot of different things back here. And we're going to do different things as we go. But for the D7 chord, we've kind of got our thumb wrapped around the back. Now, if your thumb's pointing out that way, that's fine too. but we just want to get just enough pressure there to push that down. All right, so now we're going to practice this, transitioning from our G to our D7, using our basic clawhammer stroke. And we're going to do that alternating third and fourth string. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the G chord with the third and fourth string, and then we're going to try for the D7 chord right after it. Okay, so here we go. Now there's something else I want to show you about fretting the notes. Now, a lot of times I will show you stuff with big, wide open hands when I'm going from one thing to the next, and that's so you can see the finger movement, okay? But what we want to do when we're chording is we want to have our fingers hovering. You see how my fingers there? They are close by where I want them to be. I want to be on this D7 chord. So when I'm not playing the D7 chord, I'm getting ready to play the D7 chord, because all I have to do is that right there. Just lift it off, put it down. Okay? So a good practice to get into when you're learning these chords is to keep your fingers hovering close to the chord when you're not playing the chord. Okay? So I've got my D7 shape, and there it is. There's my D7 shape. All right? And I've got it just hovering right there while I'm playing the G. And when I want to go to the D7, it's already right there, okay? See how that works? Okay, this is a good habit to get into right now. As we go through our different chords on the banjo, there's all different positions we're going to have these little sausages in, okay? So we want to make sure we're getting it in our muscle memory, in our hand, what that chord is. And we can help ourselves out by keeping the shape in the air, okay? So we're playing air chords too. But, okay, that is your first chord. I don't want to give you, okay. I got a weird sunspot here. Okay, so that is your first chord. I don't want to give you too much on these lessons, okay? You don't need to skip through and, you know, be rushing this process. But so you've got two chords here to play, and you can already play a song if you can play these two chords. You can play several songs. I'm not going to go too much into that right yet, but so I just want you to practice transitioning between the G and the D7. Now, when you're transitioning between these chords, we just want to make a nice smooth sound. I'm getting ready because I know I'm going to need to do the D7 pretty soon. I'm taking my fingers off, but I'm going to come back, so I'm leaving them there. There we go. These little tips will help you tremendously, okay? I wish I was doing these at the beginning, right? From the beginning, I wish I knew to keep my hand close. There's so many things little things you can do to help yourself out. Okay, so there we go. That was lesson 4. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more great lessons. And I just want you to always remember before I go that Jesus loves you.